We do have Marcia, but she'll go ahead. But with that, I'd like to call the meeting to order, and I have one recommendation for the agenda. So on the agenda, once again, we had the Plymouth Sun on the agenda for a grant request. So met with the Plymouth Sun today, the Almanor Foundation, and North Valley Community Foundation, and just in that conversation, there are a number of things that the Plymouth Sun would like to go back and revise their overall budget. Of issue is how they were going to hold, if the grant funding got approved, how that position would be held and by whom. And so there's the potential that the Almanor Found, because of payroll taxes and other things and other benefits, that the Almanor Foundation may actually hold the position because of the nature of the Plymouth Sun right now. And the Plymouth Sun is also in the process of filing for their own 501c3 organization or tax exemption with the IRS. So it brought on a whole series of other questions and what ifs, et cetera. So that team wants to kind of go back, understand better really what their need is going to be. So basically, bottom line up front, the dollar amount in that grant request is going to change, more likely come down because they're also, instead of looking at 2 years, they may be just looking at 1 year. And the funding request may be split between us, the DFC, North Valley Community Foundation, potentially the Almanor Foundation, but all that still has to get ironed out. So for right now, that grant is tabled and it's been put back in a draft status by North Valley Community Foundation. So with that amendment, may I have a motion to approve today's agenda?
I move to approve today's agenda.
As amended?
As amended, yes, sorry.
Thank you, Lida. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Danny.
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? None. Thank you. All right. And may I have a motion to approve the July 7th, 2025 meeting minutes?
I'll
Also
move.
move. Shelby.
I'll second it.
Shelby, thank you. Lida? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none. Okay. First item on the agenda is public input. Keston Sherry, you're representing our public input. Do you have anything you'd like to offer?
I have two thank yous to tell the steering committee. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Greenville, we want to thank the steering committee for the grant to purchase the trailer for the equipment for our Indian Valley Century Ride. Dave and Tawny will be really happy to get their trailer back. And the rest of us who are scattered and holding all the different things that we're holding, we'll get to have that all in one place. And we want to thank you very much for that and for supporting the Rotary and also supporting the Indian Valley Century Ride. So thank you so much for that. And then on behalf of the Cy Hall Greenville Memorial Museum, we are beyond grateful for the grant of $71,000 to help us with our technology and our furniture and displays and our landscaping. Our board is just overjoyed, and we thank you isn't enough, but we thank you so much for that. And we're really looking forward to being able to put our displays together and landscape and our technology and really pass on the history of Greenville and Indian Valley to the community here and at large. So we really thank you for that. Thank you.
Well, that's great, Cher. Thank you for saying as much. And yeah, those were two contributions that on the 7th steering committee was able to make. And yeah, that's the kind of the end state there, is to be able to move along some of these larger community projects and enable other things to happen. So that's great. Happy that both the Rotary Club and the Cy Hall Museum are on their way.
Yeah.
So,
There's about 8 of us who are both involved in the museum and involved in Rotary. So as I spread the word after the meeting last time, people were just like hands up, clapping signs. I texted everybody to let everybody know. So that has spread and people are just overjoyed. So thank you so much again. And then Kes wanted to add a comment too.
I just thought it'd be good for the steering committee to know that the contract has gone to Myers Construction. They've already started digging the foundation. And so hopefully, if everything goes well, we'll actually have the museum dried in before winter, and then be ready to open next season. So we will see how fast it goes, but we're pretty excited at this point.
yes, that's great news. That's congratulations. That's a big hurdle. So
Thank you.
you know that's not easy to get to that point right there, and the fact that Myers Construction is actually breaking ground and getting ready to do the work. That's a significant event. So congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I'd also be happy to tell you how to spend your money, but I see on the agenda that you have a discussion of potential future grants, so I'll wait till that item comes up.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks for that, Cass. No problem. Yeah, so since so Plymouth Sun is off, and so we will move right to that discussion item of potential future grants. And there's a number of sort of there's a couple of organizations that have reached out to me to at least get acquainted with the grant portal on how to submit and what they're doing. So I'll kind of cover that next. But what I would like to do is one of those organizations is with us here today. And so Sam, I'm going to put you on the spot to give us kind of a wave top overview of what y'all are thinking and just a quick intro. Sam here is with us from Bliss Branding. That's her branding and marketing business, and I don't want to undersell it, so I'll leave that to you, Sam. But Sam doesn't. She's worked for a number of years here in the county, consulting with some of our businesses and our organizations in getting their messaging out and working on websites and digital media campaigns and things of that nature. And she's working with Clint Cobley and the Indian Valley Innovation Hub on a concept, and they have a grant and draft form right now. So it has not been yet submitted. However, I think they intend to do so here soon. It looks like Clint is dialing in right now. But anyway, Clint, welcome. I was just doing a brief intro of Sam as your partner on a potential grant submission, and opportunity now take 5 or 10 minutes to just give the team an overview and what we can anticipate to see in a formal grant request. So
okay. Well, thank you, Patrick, and I apologize for getting on late. I had a little bit of a plumbing issue over at our resort today that had to be resolved. So I wear many hats. Plumber, electrician, Yo Bubba, I mean, you name it, garbage guy. So anyway, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for allowing Samantha and I to talk. I'll try to talk as little as possible because Samantha is a much better speaker. But to start with, we started the move-in package almost 3 years ago. Mark Pekatich from the La Sierra Chamber, Laura Wheeler, and myself went over to Chester to talk to Tom McGowan about a relocation package because I was very familiar with those from previous chambers that I was associated with. The Lassen County Chamber of Commerce had a relocation package. I was very familiar with them in Nevada when I still lived there. And the reason for our move in is basically we're losing people. I was just telling Samantha earlier today that between 2002 and 2024, we've lost 3,067 employees. We had that many more employees 23 years ago. I don't know what happened. We've lost 1,400 students since our high in about 2000, in the year 2000. You know, in today's dollars, that's about $14,750,000. So, you know, that explains a lot of why I think the school district is is struggling because of lack of student enrollment. We've lost several thousand people in the last, number of years. Our population peaked between 1993 and 2005, and since then we've lost, almost, about 2,600 people. So we're definitely trying to, turn those things around. One of the things that I've also noticed is that our median household income relates directly to our median age, our school enrollment, housing starts, and oftentimes our retail sales. But as you know, in rebuilding a town like in Greenville, rooftops drive retail, and that's what we're exactly trying to do. We're trying to convince people to move here. The down payment assistance program, and I'm just going to mention this, is meant more for people that have a job and have good credit but don't have money to put down on a house. $5,000 wouldn't be enough to do that. But the move-in project is more for people who've got the wherewithal to maybe move to Plumas County, that can bring a job or rent a house, build a house, buy a house. The $5,000 that we would give to that family coming into Plumas County would help moving expenses and things like that. More than anything, I think it's saying, we want you. We want you to be part of our community. We want you to help rebuild our community. And we're looking really hard at trying to make sure we attract people we like. And I think that's why Samantha, and she's talked to 19 different communities that are involved in this type of a program across the country. And most of them say you've got to have a concierge program. In other words, you have to really integrate people, and you have to make sure that the people you're attracting here are going to be a good fit. I think we all know that we can bring people from New York and San Francisco, but if they want to come to Greenville and they expect things from those places, it's not going to happen. They have to accept us for what we have and what we are. And that's just the way it is. As Samantha said, it's an upgrade in their quality of life. It's a slower pace. It's a beautiful place to live in. The people are community minded, just like they are in the DFC and in Greenville. I see Kess there, trying to rebuild Greenville one house at a time. That's just our makeup, and we're looking for people like that. So our job, and I listened to the Board of Supervisors in their strategic planning session last week, and I think for the first time they admitted that we're losing people and we've got to do something about that. Well, we started doing that about 3 years ago, and then when we started that idea, Samantha took it to heart about almost 2 years ago now, and she started the program, and she just created a website, no fanfare, no marketing, nothing, and she was getting like 1,500 hits a month just because people had heard about it. So then, and Samantha's not one to, put her feet up very easily. So she designed this great website called Move In. And I think hopefully you've all seen that. And we presented it to the Board of Supervisors. I think it was on June 17th. It was a little bit of a lengthy presentation, but it was very, very good. And afterwards, we got inundated by people who said, this is a great program, and this is what we need to do here in Plumas County. Immediately afterwards, we got a personal donation of $1,000 and then another $100. And then just recently, we had the La Sierra Chamber donate $5,000. So we're really trying to build up a fund. And there's two things we need to do with it. And I'll let, Samantha maybe get into more of the specifics. But the first thing is to develop the whole marketing system and structure, because Samantha has ways of penetrating sites where people are looking to move, to relocate. So we've got to get that structure in place. And then, of course, the other part of it is we need to offer, a family that wants to relocate here $5,000. So we're really looking to rebuild our community one family at a time, maybe one business at a time, one rooftop at a time. So that's what we're looking for. I'm going to let Samantha talk because I think I've taken up my half, and go from there. So Samantha, fill in the gaps that I may have left out.
Thanks, Patrick, for the intro. Cass, I think you were at the Board of Supervisors meeting, right?
It was a great presentation.
I think I spoke for approximately 7.5 hours. Yeah, so short summary for you guys, for the board, what kind of everything Clint was saying, it boils down to we have to advertise to get in front of people. No one in the Bay Area that's too expensive now, or Tahoe or Truckee or Reno or Sparks, are going to move to Plumas County, potentially because they've literally never heard of Plumas County, right? So at the end of the day, we have to put our advertising in front of their face. So we need a recruitment campaign. So when I moved back to the county, when I graduated, there were 65 kids in the senior class in Portola. Now there's 21 graduated. Next year's going to be less. So it's not rocket science as a marketer that we need to put advertising in front of people's faces. And the realtors that are in our area, you know, they would love it if they had $5,000, $10,000 a month to do advertising campaigns, right? They would love that, but they don't. So the goal of a recruitment program, and what Clint said is, I did talk to 19 of the most successful rural area recruitment programs in the country. And the directors of those people, they got money from their largest employers in the area. The largest rural area that I spoke with had 25,000 in population, which is great numbers, right? Ours is like half of that now. When I left Plumas County, there was like about 21,000 people, and this was 2007. And then I came back. So what happens? One is we'll create a website. The one that's on La Sierra Chamber of Commerce website, we did that because I'm the marketing chairperson for La Sierra Chamber Board. Our board is very Plumas County centric. I know we just represent Eastern Plumas County, but we're really all about growing the entire county because all rising tides. So what we did was we just put a web page out there as a recruitment web page to say, hey, move in. A lot of counties gave us information to put on the page, and it ended up getting about 1,000 hits a month without any advertising. That is, as a marketer, I have clients that would love those numbers to come to their website a month. That just means we wired frame in the back end for search engine optimization keywords that people literally are typing into Google, like safe mountain area to move, affordable mountain living, safe for my kids to move in. These are literally what people are typing into Google, and our web page was coming up on the browser. Imagine if it was tied to an ad campaign. So one, the ad campaign would be all about are different areas in our community, right? From Indian Valley to Quincy to Almanor to Portola, Gray Eagle, wherever we're advertising, that's what the advertising would be about. We want to partner with Plumas Housing Council to then advertise the home, right, that Kess has helped build there to hopefully funnel someone in. So step one, the ad would show. This is to highly qualified people that are putting in the search bar already. They want to move to a rural area. Okay, we already know that they want to live in a mountain area. They're either going to come to us or they're going to move to Colorado or Kentucky or Tennessee, one of the 19 other counties that are highly advertising, okay, for them to move there. One. Step two is they'll look through the website, realize how awesome it is to move in. So our digital marketing agency, yes, Bliss Branding, I do have a digital marketing agency since 2013. I have 15 full-time employees. We would build, we're currently building out the website now. We own moveinplumas.com, so it's just a coming soon page. Once that's ready to launch, step one is they come to the website, they'll learn about the different areas. Step two, if it seems appealing, which it will, because we're going to build it to be highly appealing, they'll fill out an application. This application is not remade. I'm not reinventing the wheel. It has been sent to me from the other counties. This is an application to make sure that they are quote unquote qualified to move in. We are not looking to attract people in certain tax brackets, honestly, to be very clear. We don't want low-income families to move in, and every single rural community is very, very targeted in their approach. So what we want to do is we want them to apply. We want families to move in. We're not going to kick out young entrepreneurs that want to work digitally or nomads that want to take advantage of our lake life. We're not going to kick them out. We're not going to kick out retirees that have just retired and want to be on our boards. We need them. We want them. But we really will focus on families. Our school districts need families. We need families to survive. So they'll fill out an application. Once that application is submitted, okay, which they have all these questions answered, they'll upload some information to us. All of it will be on a very secure server. So once they upload that information, we will get the application. Clint just said a really key word earlier. He said the word concierge. Right now at the beginning, we don't have a concierge. So it will be myself and Clint and a little committee for the move-in campaign. We will be reviewing applications. Okay, once we review the application, then they want to move in, we say yes, we put them in touch with a realtor in the area that they're looking. The realtor hopefully will move into the newest home that, you know, Kes just helped build, or move into a place in Indian Valley or Quincy or wherever they're interested in. Okay, let's say we work through this whole process. That's where they have a concierge. Currently, it will be myself and Clint following up with them. Hey, Lita, we just saw you filled out your application. How's it going with your realtor? We see that you want to open a coffee shop. When you've moved the family in and you're closed, I'm here to help you with your permit process. That's the concierge. And once you qualify, you move in. Hopefully, maybe you don't need down payment assistance, but maybe you will. There's a lot of programs in place right now through Plymouth Realtor Association as well, paying first-time home buyers, right, money to help with their down payments. They submit the down payment. Once they qualify, they either lease or they either rent or buy a home. Then we will pay them $5,000 to move here. So the questions we got from Board of Supervisors is, once you pay them $5,000, how do you know they're not going to move out the next day? There are stipulations of the $5,000. It's paid in increments to make sure that you're not taking it and then moving out the next day. Again, I'm not reinventing the wheel. This has been in place in rural communities successfully. The longest has been for 7 years. They have moved in 57 families into their community through this funnel. Unbelievably amazing. So anyways, they get paid $5,000 to move in. Now, here's the kicker. All 19 communities told me this, Sam, your recruitment campaign will fail. I'm like, I want to hear how it will fail. Tell me how it will fail. They said, if you don't have a concierge to help with this family for the first year minimum that they are there, it takes 3 years, we've noticed, for these move-in families to integrate and not move out. I don't feel welcome in the community. I don't have friends. My kid doesn't know where to play Little League, right? And the list goes on. So we've already have a partnership with Plymouth Rural Services, who this is what they do. I found out, it's just like a miracle. And they concierge, right, all the way through. But inevitably, we want to hire someone to be the concierge, which is what these other programs have. So the concierge will help them to everything. Hey, Lita, you want to go to happy hour tonight? You want to go play bingo? Hey, there's karaoke down the street. I would love to take you, right? This is the job of integrating the family into the community. We're not talking about 1,000 people. 8 families in a pipeline in a year is considered highly successful for these rural communities. Okay, so again, this is not 1,000 families that are going to be applying. Minimum a month that each rural community uses for advertising spend is $2,500 minimum. The most successful they've seen, because remember, we are competing with the Zillows and the other people in the world that are also recruiting people to move. But Google will put local advertising above Walmart. Okay, if that makes sense. If you're advertising locally, they'll put you above. They know you can't compete. So as soon as we submit ourselves as a moving campaign as a localized program, then we will get preferential treatment. $2,500 is minimum. The best, they say, if you had a sustainable $4,500 a month, which I know it sounds like a lot of money, it gets eaten by Google quickly, to advertise and put your ads in front of people's faces, you will get a consistent, solid, about 8 to 10 families in the pipeline a year. That will start to grow as the campaign continues to optimize. Now, here's the most amazing, beautiful part about this is you ask, okay, well, how does this continue to get funded? In year 1, we are trying to raise $125,000 to move 10 families in. So that's 10 families. That's 50,000 of that money, right? 5,000 per family. At 4,500, okay, for advertising a month, we'd like to get there, right? That's about 50, almost 50,000, 45,000. My agency is donating a lot of the work. I do need to pay my team like the bare minimum. So I think I put in for, I don't know, Clint, I don't have it in front of me right now, maybe 6,000-7,000 to manage all the campaigns, to build out the website. And then we are going to be paying the Almanor Foundation their administrative fee, which is 10%. So that's 12,500 of the 125. So our goal is to raise that 125. Like Clint just said, we've got 5 from La Sierra Chamber, who again, doesn't care where they move in. We don't care if they move into Eastern Plymouth County. We want the whole county to grow. So 5,000 from them, 1,000 already from personal. We have a $100 donation. Our fundraising campaign for the website will be live within the next couple weeks. So how are we able to start accepting donations? We've partnered with Indian Valley Innovation Hub, and now the Almanor Foundation just had their board meeting 2 days ago, voted on our application to accept us as an official fund. So it's all legally managed. We can accept dollars through the charity. That charity then gives it to Almanor Foundation to completely manage. What if you don't get off the ground or don't get enough money raised? So we've had that question. If we don't get enough money raised within the 90 days, okay, to kick off and start, then we will refund money. That is like our mission and initiative. We will refund dollars back, $1,000 personal donations. That's a lot of money. So that's why Clint is like on the road, on the trail for fundraising right now. The nice part is after the Board of Supervisors meeting, we had so many organizations come up to us and say, I don't know if the county's ever needed anything more, ever, in terms of, okay, we're going to build these houses or we're going to do this, but like, who is coming? We're going to build a new library. Who's walking into it? We're going to build sidewalks. Who's walking on the sidewalks? So we have to have a recruitment campaign, because right now the bleeding is happening where people are moving out. So at least if we can get to a place where we're sustaining, okay, move out is happening. Now we're at least recruiting new blood in. At least we're going to quote unquote stop the bleeding. And then after a year, 2 years, we can start growing, right? We have to stop the bleeding, right? People are leaving. How do we recruit in? After 1 year of the campaign, there is grant applications. These other recruitment communities have told me, we need 1 year to show success. Success means you've recruited 2 families in. We then can apply for a grant application that will fund us for 3 years. What? This is like amazing. So organizations like SPI is like, this is just music. We need a campaign like this. So Clint's going to be asking for lots of money from SPI. Seneca Healthcare, who I met at Almanor Foundation's Big Bopper Bash, they're like, oh my gosh, how can we help? So right now we're at a place of Almanor Foundation, locking them in. We've got our charity to accept the money, which has started accepting dollars. My agency has already started the build out at no cost. So we're going, we're moving. If there's anyone that grew up in the county and wants to see the county not die, and owns a very successful digital marketing agency, it's me, right? And we're doing it. So at the end of the day, even if I didn't get paid, we don't get paid. So I know there's like, Sam, conflict of interest. You're with the Chamber of Commerce. You have an agency. But I guarantee you that you're working with someone that, even if we didn't raise that, I'd rather put it towards advertising, getting families in first. We come last. I really believe in that mission. So at the end of the day, it's involved in what this campaign is, but we are not reinventing the wheel. We're just inventing our branding for Plumas County around it. And we have to get the funding to start the advertising. And you have to have, now, the county that has 25,000 people, which is the most successful, they've brought in 57 families. They pay an agency $35,000 a year to manage all their campaigns. So it's not cheap to do this type of work. It is very involved. It's very labor intensive, but year one getting this off the ground, because I know it will be successful. And how do I know? Is because we built that web page on the La Sierra Chamber site, and 1,000 people were getting to it a month without advertising. So the interest is there, and that's exactly why we did it, because I don't do anything without data. That's just like shooting birds in the dark. So, we have the data now. We know it's out there. Now we have to build the funnel, which is already well on its way to being built. And then, Clint on the mission of raising the funds. So we have organizations that very much believe and are behind it, that are ready, right, to say, hey, are you guys ready to start accepting kind of legally the funds in so we can manage them? But I guess just any quick questions on the recruiting campaign and kind of the steps to recruit these families in and pay them. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Just real quick, team, in the chat, put the link to the move-in website that already exists with the La Sierra, and then just for background and understanding, there's an example from Paradise, and as it relates to funding, the campaign that they're utilizing in Paradise was previously funded by, well, in part, not in whole, but in part by North Valley Community Foundation.
Mhm.
And with regard to like the efficacy of community foundations and or something like the DFC being able to fund something like this, there's precedent for it. And for Clint and Sam, with your application, as it's still in a draft status, when it's finally submitted, there will just need to be like, Sam, like a lot of the numbers that you just threw out, like if that's on a spreadsheet, that actually shows the budgeted dollar amounts attributed in
Yeah, we do have that, yeah.
the $62,500. And then specifically, just confirming what the Almanor Foundation has as their indirect costs, all those types of things, just so that that could be well understood between the steering committee here and then also North Valley Community Foundation.
Yeah, perfect.
It's
Yeah,
just one.
I wanted to say a couple of things real quickly. One is on behalf of Indian Valley Innovation, though, because we're a 501c3, we're just going to be a pass-through. If we collect it, we're just going to move it on to the Elmer Foundation to do the federal and state tax requirements, quarterly reporting, and all the public transparency that's needed. We're not going to take a dime out of this.
Yeah, it was easier for Almanor Foundation to work with a charity already set up to accept dollars and then funnel it over to Almanor Foundation. So it was
And I
very
think-
nice that the hub volunteered.
I think one of the good things about this program too is when you bring someone here, it doesn't take long and then a family friend or another family member tends to move up. And the last thing I want to say, because I see a couple of questions from Matt and Danny, that I have realtor friends that are in Chico that are getting calls from people in Los Angeles that are looking north. Like, what's it like in Chico? What's it like in Redding? What's it like in Truckee or Reno? They're looking to relocate because they know their town is not going to be rebuilt for probably 10 years. And some people just want, as Samantha said, an upgrade in their life, a little bit slower place, beautiful place, community-minded people, safe, secure small towns and things like that. So we know people are on the move. We just got to get them.
I think, Danny, I think your hand was up first, then we'll go to Matt.
No, Matt was first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Matt, by all means, go ahead.
So, I mean, most of the people who live in Crescent Mills are not middle income or high income. Most of them are low income. And a lot of people, younger people, are choosing not to have kids. Like, it seems a really narrow focus to focus on richer people with kids and then give them money when there's plenty of other people who could be moving up. So it seems really narrow in that way, and it may lead to problems of discrimination against, especially like this county's got hardly any brown people. Like California is almost 40% Hispanic. Like Plymouth County is like 92% white or something like that. Like it's very, very different demographics. I'm concerned that the selectivity bias within the program may lead to, I'm not sure how it would shake out in terms of color of the skin, but I mean, there's already this massive bias within the county, and then it seems just quite narrow to have people with kids. I mean, hardly anyone have kids anymore, and
Yeah.
higher income people, it seems like
Yeah,
taking
but
a potential pull from
It's
here.
a good point. So it's really interesting you say that, because when I was talking to these other communities, this was actually my exact point. Like, how do you guys not get sued? So it's not. So it's actually the lowest income is 45,000 to qualify for move-in, and I know that even sounds like a lot of money, but the areas that we're going to be recruiting, it's very low end. The reason they put it at 45,000 is all bucketed in there, and all of the full application has been reviewed by multiple lawyers, which we're also going to have ours once it's finalized reviewed. But it was interesting because the county in Kentucky, that is the 25,000 that has recruited 57 families over the 7 years, when they did the percentage of basically breakdown of who moved in, it was only 37 or 38% Caucasian. So it was not, they're like, it wasn't even a thing. And they wasn't even something on the application that they even thought at the beginning was going to be discriminatory. Our area, what she said to me was, because you're advertising legally when we do this, and our ads, I already know, would get disapproved anyways if we left out any races, because the advertising is going to full population. So we say families, But full population is we're going to go entrepreneurs, people that are single, right? We want them to move in, people that could potentially work remote, people potentially that could work at the mill or work at, right? We do want younger individuals to move in, and we also want the older individuals. So we're going to break up advertising spend based on what the most successful recruiting programs are already doing. And they were spending 55% on family advertising and then split the rest for singles and then early retire.
I mean, so we can target with SEO and all the rest of it, but then in terms of actual criteria, I mean, it seems really unfair that someone earning $40,000 a year gets nothing to move here, and someone earning $50,000 gets 5,000. It seems unfair. And then also, there's another question around a lot of people who are richer. They'll buy a house in Plymouth County, and then they'll very rarely live there. Like most of the people around the lake, it's like
Totally.
50%.
Craigle as well, and
It does-
Tacoma, yeah.
That does nothing for us, that does
Yep.
nothing for the people living here. I mean, it takes away houses from people who could live here. Does this program require you to actually live here and like register to vote here or live here? I mean, some kind of like, this isn't your second home.
Yeah, I love that question. So yes, the registration for voting is actually one of the things for payout in all the counties that are doing recruiting programs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to live full time.
Yeah, and Matt, one of the things that we want to do with this is like, if we can take this to Sierra Pacific Industries and say, look, besides your cash bonus, we have a $5,000 incentive to move here, so they can get employees to move, employees that work for Sierra Pacific Industries. Those are the people like us here, and those are people that, as happened before, Greenville was kind of like a bedroom community for both Chester and Quincy, as far as, working in either mill or the other. So we would use our companies to attract the people they want here.
Okay.
Those are good questions, though.
Yeah, Danny, over to you.
Yeah, Samantha, I think we have the right person, because being able to sing "Shooting Birds in the Dark" and not blinking and be able to sound like it says a lot. I mean, and that is very, very good. And I know some people actually on this call might not think so. However, it is Plymouth County, it is Greenville, it is the people that built that community. So that's very important.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
since
I
you-
literally grew up here. Yeah, so I know what you mean.
Since you moved away, so you came back.
Yeah.
And sure, I'm not exactly white, but and I represent other colors around, but we can't just focus on that.
Yep.
We are more than the color of our skins, really. We don't have to count all that. And people, and I think when you say family, if you go with saying family, when you say family today, there's all kinds of definition of family. It's not into, this color, that color, all the same race, right? It's or even different sexes. It's family is family. It's a very safe thing to say. You say family, people come up, and what you want to do, and really I believe what you're saying is we're about growth. It's about growing the community, growing the population. And so of course you want to be focused toward that. And the more people you can get in to do that, I think is great. And reality is $5,000 is a token. It's really not going to cause somebody to move. It's a token representation. We're glad you made this decision. Here is this. We're going to come on in. And I think really the biggest thing that I'm hearing here is the concierge. That is the thing. We want a welcoming committee, somebody, and we got to expand that more and more and get the people, you get the concierge to work with the people within the town to help to integrate these people into the town. And so, yes. Anyway,
Yeah,
I just think it's great.
Thank you. There's a couple of these programs that I talked to the directors of in Tennessee, and it was really interesting. They have not only expanded the concierge concept, but because they have like in Almanor, Quincy, and Indian Valley, a Greenville, very different types of their county, they have like the welcome wagons in each. And what they do is actually pay like a $500 to $1,000 commission for the year to that. And the people are happy to do it anyways, to that concierge in the area. And then there is a team in that area. Like, okay, it's a mom and kids that moved in. So you know, Lita, you're in our committee because you do X, Y, and Z, and Danny, you're in this one because they like this. So they have these committees, and it's like a well-oiled machine, and they say that their concierge just love it, like they love it. And when you're bringing entrepreneurs in as well, the concierge helps with their permitting, and hey, did you get this? And it really just a full circle. And then the other thing is 5,000 is a token, paired with also about $1,000 of wherever they move into that area. Basically gift cards, come to the coffee shop, here's $20 here. So we get the community in on giving them like a welcome basket as well. So we also want to pair the 5,000 and be able to list SPI's 2,500 if you sign with them, and Plymouth Realtor if it's first time home buying 5,000. So it can up the ante, but I would agree. It's a little token. Also, I just want to, for my previous question, typically, there's a company that is a multi-million-dollar company. They are called MakeMyMove.com. Multi-million-dollar company. And it's basically Airbnb listings for your community, for your county. So you can list your county and you're selling your county to people and you have listings and you apply through MakeMyMove.com. The minimum requirement is $50,000 you have to make through MakeMyMove.com. So if you don't list with MakeMyMove.com, you have the ability to then kind of edit and flow what that money is. So if it's not 45, we want to bring it down to 40 if we're finding that that's too high. We have no data right now is the issue. So if we're getting people in our funnel and we're finding that they'd be great to move here, but it's 45,000 is too high, then we will consider lowering that money. But at the moment, I'd like to not dip down much further until we get more data in the door, right? Because because we're not listing ourselves with Make My Move, which is $60,000 up front to list our community on Make My Move, and then they take a commission per family. That is in our heads to hopefully list as we get funded by grant funding in year 2, 3, and 4. So we have a profile on Make My Move, which is a multi-million-dollar company doing lots of advertising. And then we have our own funnel as well.
Right. I just want to make sure that we do the western side of the county does get fed. I just said, because
Yeah, so currently as we're fundraising, it's interesting that you brought that up. You know, we're going to be hitting up different areas of the county for funding. So what our promise is to that area, I'm just going to throw out a number. Let's say Indian Valley, you know, gave us $35,000. I'm just going to throw out a number. So the promise on our end is that 35,000 chunk will be towards advertising your area, right? And then you have general funding like from the chambers. They're okay, advertise the whole county. So that's our promise to areas that we're getting funding from.
awesome.
Yeah. I can't promise you that they will move into that area, but the ads will be focused to that area.
Matt, I think you had a follow-up and then we'll go to Lida.
Yeah, so if someone moves from Grey Eagle to Greenville, then can they get the $5,000, or do they have to move from like somewhere out of county?
So currently the application is for out of the county to get people to move into our county to repopulate the county. So that person, we're basically trading property taxes from here to here, right? We want new funding to come in. That's a good question.
Why do we have this? Like, okay, back in the day, there were, I don't know how many people were in Greenville at this peak, maybe 5,000 back in 1920.
30, about 3,300, Matt, was about the big.
3,300. What is it? I mean, who cares, right? These are past things. There used to be 1,500 people at Engle Mine. Now there's 0. It doesn't mean that there should be 1,500 people at Engle Mine. There's not some magic number for Plymouth would be better with 25 versus 20. I don't know if it is, you know, like there's an assumption among this whole thing of that there's some past population thing and we've got to get back to that. And we've got to spend money. We've got to do a lot of effort to get back to this thing. I don't see the validity of that basic assumption that we've got. I mean, rural populations are falling everywhere. We've got to manage that to manage whatever, closing schools and doing the right things and doing all that. But I mean, it's a huge wave that you're trying to kind of fight against, you know, like
Totally.
rural populations falling everywhere, and we've seen that decade after decade after decade. And I don't know if there's if if Plymouth would be better with 25,000 versus 20,000. I don't buy
I would say, Matt, from a,
you know?
yeah, I would say from a mindset standpoint, like you said, who cares if 15,000 people live here, one live here? I think it's a mindset level of repopulation. So if you're thinking from a property tax standpoint and a school district standpoint, if we need new people in, as opposed to just transferring the body from here to there. I don't get, like you just said, who cares if they go to Quincy's high school or they go to Portola's high school, right? They're out of high school, so it should be fine. But we're not refilling what's leaving. We're just transferring it.
Yeah.
Now there might be, Matt, like Clint has been working on as well. It's not my focus right now. But there might be programs in the future for who's currently here, who wants to buy a new fridge for their business and they can apply for the grant, or they want to relocate and they need help with down payment assistance to move from here to there. Internal, but this program is to get people from outside in, so we can raise property taxes, raise kids at whatever school district in the area. I think, like, you're right, who cares who's going where, but we do need to repopulate. That's the goal of kind of this program only, but I do know things are in the work for what you're talking about as well. How do we help people move within the county?
I'll make this quick because I see a couple of hands up. Lada's got her hand up, and I think Danny, Matt, I'm with you. I don't have a specific number of people that I think we need to have. What we can't have, what we can't let happen is the fact that we're projected to lose almost another 7,000 people by the year 2060. That will be down to 13,000 people by the year 2060. We're declining that fast. And my major concern, and Samantha alluded to, put the brakes on so we can at least maybe balance off the in-migration with the out-migration, and then hopefully maybe we can build from there. However many people we think we can have someday, I wish we had that problem. We're far from it.
Okay, Lida, you've got your hand, and then we'll go with Danny, and then unless there's anything pressing, again, just this is a forum to kind of hear kind of the first opportunity here. We will have a more complete grant proposal potentially by our next steering committee meeting on the 4th of August that could be available for approval. So just there's an opportunity to just sort of ruminate a little bit on it and then proceed from there. So Lida, please go ahead. Oh, Lida, I think you're muted still.
Two quick questions which don't really even have to be answered now, but I think need to be addressed. And to some extent you have addressed who's making these decisions and based on exactly what criteria. And I assume the criteria are in whatever the plan is. And then who makes those decisions is one question. And the other is, I mean, the Dixie Fire Collaborative's mission is to address things in the burn area. And we're talking about a lot of places here that are in Plumas County, but they're not in the burn area. And I think we need to understand how our money gets used in the context of using it in the burn area, burn scar area.
Yeah, so it's interesting because they asked the same question at the Board of Supervisors meeting. One, there'll be a full committee in place for move-in to review applications. So once it kicks off, we'll invite different organizations if they'd like to be involved in that application committee. The least that the other role committee had were 5 people on the committee. And second is any area that we get funding from, the promise is that those advertising dollars will go to advertise the burn scar area. For example, for the Board of Supervisors, we asked for $125,000. And we said that in year one, 70% of those advertising dollars that are going to be spent will be spent to advertise the burn scar areas. So I do think that's just really important to know where that money's going to be going. And also, you know, if organizations do grant us monies, we will take the courtesy to send ads right to you to say, hey, here's your ads that are going to be going out. You can see them, and you know that it's been created by a marketing agency, that this is what they do for a living. So yeah, I think those are valid.
Okay, thank you. Danny.
So my thing is that we do need to grow. I mean, there's no question. We need to encourage more people to come in. So, and I kind of challenge against Matt a little bit there on his kind of assertion a little bit that, with target number of people. I don't think we had to target for how many thousands of people we want to live in Indian Valley. But the fact of the matter is, we need more people here so we can encourage the businesses that are rebuilding and refurbishing their hotels and their restaurants and their store, Matt. So we have people there to buy stuff in that. So that's why we need to encourage new people to come out.
Rooftops drive retail.
And the
Yeah.
last thing I'll say is, if they don't move here, they're moving somewhere else because the recruiting programs are very successful. And MakeMyMove.com is a multi-million-dollar company. So if our ads are not there, it's just like a wish and pray method, and we don't have the luxury anymore. If we look at a 5-10 year forecast to do that, we can't have, well, Sam's sister moved here. Thank God, that word of mouth helped. It helps. But I think we have to be extremely thoughtful and proactive about this and very direct about getting
right.
people there.
Exactly. And just back to what do we as the DFC? That's what our job is, to rebuild the burn scar area, rebuild Plymouth, people who are burned out. So that's our charter. So we should be focused on that. Anyway, great. Thanks.
Greg here has a question, and I think we'll listen to kind of hear this again in the future with the complete grant submission. Go ahead, Greg.
Listen, I went 7.5 hours, Greg, with Board of Supervisors.
All right, so you got the wind and the endurance, and all right. I'm just curious. A lot of people are leaving California. How are you going to position us compared to, because of the taxes? If you move to Nevada, you gain 14% on your income.
Totally. It's interesting. And there's 2 rural communities right now that I talked to that are doing recruitment programs. One is for our area, the assistance money, we can offset kind of the fire insurance right now. But 2, they're saying, well, yeah, you can move to Nevada, but you don't have X, Y, and Z for lifestyle. So they said, and these directors, Greg, are so fascinating. They're like, Sam, you're not looking for 1,000 people to move in. You want the 8 that want the beauty, that they'll look at the taxes potentially as a line item of living a good life in this lifetime. It's fresh air, it's trees, it's this. And so they're like, those eight people are there, but your ads need to get in front of them, right? You need to talk to them. And I'm like, okay, right. And they're getting them to move in. They're like, you're not looking for 1,000 people. So I think they're out there. There's a reason you and I are still here. Right? So, but yeah, there are people, they're leaving, right? But we don't want those people, right? We want the ones that are like, okay, yeah, there's some extra taxes here and I'll add it as a line item, but I want to live in this type of community.
Okay, great. Well, I think, again, you'll have about 3 weeks to think about this, and then I anticipate we'll have the full grant submission in the first week of August. On the meeting notification for today, both Sam and Clint's email addresses are located on there. So I don't want to speak for them, but I imagine if you have some one-off questions and things like that you'd like to kind of elaborate more fully on later, you could probably contact them directly and just keep this sort of brainstorming going as we get to that point. So Sam and Clint, thank you for
thanks you guys for your time.
Well, and thanks you guys for keeping your chin up. I know it's been a long haul. It's just a couple of weeks. It's 4 years, and you're still after it, and that says a lot about the metal you're made out of, because you're still doing it. A lot of people would have walked away 2 years ago, and you're still after it. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you both, and we'll continue to discuss other potential future grants.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Okay, I have to drop off, but I appreciate you all.
You
Great.
bet.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Samantha. Thanks, Clint.
Yeah, great, Samantha. Great presentation.
Okay, so in no particular, I didn't list them out because some of them are kind of materializing as we speak, but There's the potential, so if you recall in the spring, the DFC and North Valley Community Foundation funded approximately $100,000 to the Dixie Fire Canopy project. Of that budget, there was an allocated amount for the American Legion for the landscaping that the Dixie Fire Canopy project was both going to get the materials for and then also do the labor for. So bottom line up front is that project has significantly overshot the budget that Michaela had for it. And there's a variety of reasons for that, which will be explained in the grant. But one of the reasons is the manner in which it was contracted and then permitted by the county. So the landscaping project was needed to be designed by a landscape architect. And so that cost, coupled with some of the specifications that the architect had put in for the landscaping, was well beyond the scope of what Dixie Fire Canopy project normally does. So instead of their 2 trees and 4 shrubs, etc., there was just an increased amount of plants, rock, and a large percentage of the money went to an irrigation system. And a lot of that work, a lot of what was not factored was the labor to actually install all that by Michaela's crew. So they've significantly overshot their original budget. I did get a draft from her on Friday. However, I do need to follow up with her to actually determine if the dollar amount that she has specified there is what she anticipates as being over, or if there are some of those expenses that have already been absorbed in other funding that she has. So I don't know necessarily what the final amount will be. There's a number around 18,000 that it could be. I spoke with Kim DeFore today about it, and her recommendation is, even though it does exceed the typical small grant funding, on our grant portal, anything that's over $10,000 usually goes into the large grant fund, and then if it's below 10,000, it's small grant. The small grant application, those are a little bit more streamlined, and it's a little bit more black and white. What you see is what you get. So Kim had recommended utilizing the small grant application for that reason. That really we're talking about a fairly black and white budget. But that will more than likely be forthcoming in August, with the Dixie Fire Canopy project asking for an additional dollar amount to make them whole for the landscaping that's been done at the American Legion. So I just want to give everybody a heads up on that. Another, I've not seen there's not a draft grant yet. I'm looking for it, but I do know that and Dax, you might be able to elaborate here a little bit. So the Indian Falls Water Project is getting ready to enter phase 2. And if you recall, there was a little bit of a sort of a cumbersome, I'll say, funding mechanism for that. So the original phase 1 was applied for by Plymouth Strong. And then that first phase was paid out by Plymouth Strong. The second phase, given that the Dawn Institute is working on rehabilitating their site there in Indian Falls, and since they utilize the water from the Indian Falls water system, and I don't know that I'm calling that actually correct, Dax, but it's something to that effect. And since the Dawn Institute is its own 501c3 organization, the Dawn would apply for the grant and then follow up on the actual payout of the contracted, water support, engineering, etc., and then also the follow-on reporting. So I don't know what that dollar amount will be just yet. I anticipate it being tens of thousands of dollars, probably less than $100,000, but still.
Yeah, I can comment on that, Patrick.
Please, Dax.
So basically, I think what our ask is for is to basically 2 items to kind of fully bring the water system back up into full running condition with acceptable water quality. We're looking to redo our spring box and install a chlorination system. We have quotes for those that come in around 80,000 total for both parts of that project. So that's what we're going to be asking. We've got a contractor lined up and on deck. Basically, he's ready to go this year. He wants to get it done this summer. So we're hoping, I'm pretty sure Allie is working on that on behalf of the Dawn Institute. My understanding is she's going to be submitting it this week. But yeah, I mean, that's the basic ask. I think it's around 80,000 and it's to redo the spring box and put in a chlorination system, which should bring us pretty much to where we want to be.
And so, Dax, correct me if I'm wrong, but both the spring box and the chlorination system, not only, again, since the Dawn Institute needs water too, but my understanding was by having this water system up and running again, it also creates the opportunity, or at least it lessens the blow for anybody that's rebuilding a home to be able to get access to the water. Is that accurate?
Yeah. So basically, in order, what we've been told by Plumas County Environmental Health is that in order to issue occupancy permits for any new builds that are going to utilize the water system, that you know, the water will need to meet water quality standards, which is basically going to require chlorination as it stands. And the spring box is also hopefully going to reduce the need for chlorination. Hopefully, I mean, one way or another, it needs to get redone because what infrastructure was there is destroyed by the fire. It's basically just a pipe sitting in a stream bed as it stands. So we're hoping to get a good covered spring box to collect clean water rather than just surface water like we are now. But yeah, that's our plan, and that's the reasoning behind it, is to get potable water for domestic use primarily.
Okay. So anyway, I as Dax just mentioned, we can anticipate seeing that at least the requests come in here soon. And then given that we have about 2 weeks until the next meeting, I'll try to tee that up for your all's review, in addition to what you just heard from Sam and Clint. But overall, wanted to kind of just open the floor a little bit. Those are the items that I know about right now. But wanted to open the floor a little bit for conversation if there are other. Oh, one other add, if I still have it, is that I was talking to Greg a little bit about this, but I'm also meeting with a representative from the Forest Service on Wednesday to just do a kind of a walk around of the Greenville campground. So I've heard lots about potential electricity and or septic and water and general infrastructure that was installed to a point at the Greenville campground that was never, it was never brought to an end point to actually be utilized for those services. So meeting with Erica Bresnovich, who is the director of the campgrounds for Plumas National Forest, just to get a walk around with her and another person from the office to understand what that infrastructure is, and just to get a general assessment of what that might take to rehabilitate and or renovate to see if that is something that could be done as a project to attract just more opportunity of different types of campers. Specifically those with trailers and RVs that may want to utilize those services. So we have something like that on this side of the valley, and just make it a more accommodating space for campers and tourists. So anyway, so that I don't know what it looks like to give the federal government money to do something they should probably do on anyway, but that there's potential there.
You didn't get rangers anymore.
Okay, and Greg, I know you had a couple of ideas that you were floating around, based off of, some of this weekend's Gold Diggers events.
Yeah, so how many people made it into the new Legion Hall over the weekend? All right,
Yes.
so how'd you like the sound? It was like you have 20 people in there talking and it's cacophony. So I think that they're gonna need some sort of engineered sound mitigation in order to make that really a functional hall. I talked to Bill Cook today and asked him to check his what the funding is and let us know. But I mean, it's so loud. I think it's way beyond hanging a few flags on the wall in order to make that like a really functional meeting space. And so I just wanted to bring that up as a possibility of helping them, get that going, because I think that it's a really good resource. It's a beautiful space, but it's so loud inside. It's just crazy. So just that. And then another thing also for the Legion, I think, but it could be another way, is from 4th of July, or not 4th of July, but from the Gold Diggers, the car show was pretty nice. I think that I was like really pretty happy with it. They weren't happy with the lack of shade. So if I was thinking maybe if we could get them like a big wedding tent or a series of tents, kind of like what we did with the Rotary, and maybe make it specific for the Legion, so that they have a series of events and they have their own resource there, even with misters or something, so that when it's hot or something that we can use and have the stuff happening out and use that whole space behind the parking lot as well. So that's just something from this weekend that I have no, idea if it's going to come up, but it seems like good ideas to me. So yeah, so that
Good.
And then also there's nothing here, but talking to like some people in the 4-H, Leanne and Debbie Allen and stuff. They want to start bringing back a couple of events during December for like Greenville Christmas kind of stuff. Like so wreath making. I think that you had a festival of trees.
Festival of Trees, yeah.
It would be nice to bring back. And so there may be something coming, looking for funding for that. My toy giveaway, that I've been doing over in Taylorsville, I'd like to bring it over to Greenville this year. So a couple of events that may need some funding, small. I mean, this is all small stuff compared to, but be nice to get it going. So, and sort of help the town come back.
I think was it the chamber that hosted the Festival of Trees?
I think it was.
Was it? Yeah.
So, but I mean, so however that would work, that's just from conversations this weekend, right? Is I'm just bringing it up.
Okay. Great.
Turkey run.
Thank you.
Need a turkey run too, right?
Yeah, that's internally funded.
I don't know.
No, but events. I'm just saying events. I'm not, I'm just saying.
Okay. I mean, I don't think the chamber wants to do the Thanksgiving dinner this year, do they?
I know that Kira doesn't. I think they're looking to hand that off to another.
So that might be another thing at the Legion to take on.
Right.
So yeah, we talk to folks about that and just kind of see what their appetite is for those types of things, or maybe it's the community supper crew. Maybe that's coordinated by IVRPD, who's been coordinating the community suppers. Maybe they can work on that as well. Kest, I know that you said you had some ideas as well, and I know that the build to sell model is something. And what I would recommend is, if that's something that you want to pursue, is if you could write that up like as a proposal on a piece of paper, or type it literally, and then be able to. So we could kind of chew on that to really understand both the legality and the financing around how the money changes hands from what party to what party, almost in a sort of a process, sort of flow chart sort of way. That would be helpful to just, I think, let me just talk for myself. It would help me, a C&D student here, understand how that works. and what the mechanisms are for that. I know we had a small conversation about it, but really, when I think as the money gets devoted, if it's from the DFC and it goes to an entity, whether that's an individual or a contractor, and then the home gets sold, then the money comes back to whom or where. And then if there's any, I mean, even if it sits somewhere in a savings account and it gains interest, what are the impacts of that interest amount? Or does it go to an escrow account, or what is it that holds that money? And that would just be helpful to be able to kind of communicate this with NVCF and all the different parties involved, if there's the potential for that.
I'd be happy to write that up. I wanted to add to that the idea that already the money comes back after you sell the home, so it's not money that's gone, but it's money that's being used rather than sitting there earning interest. I guess earning interest is being used, but I'd rather have houses in Greenville than interest. So, so I wanted to point out that one of the things that DFC can do, you have, I think, $600,000 that's gone to the Almanor Foundation, or will go to the Almanor Foundation if they come up with more funding for the build to rent campaign. And I think you have another 600,000 that's gone to the Rancheria. It's waiting for them. The house that we're building is on schedule and on budget. It looks like they're going to be able to build those homes at a rate of 2 to 3 a year for the $300,000. So one of the options you have is that the money that you have that's sitting there, instead of earning interest, could be putting homes in Greenville. So you have a commitment to, say, the Rancheria. You've got $600,000 that's going to them. You can tell them, like a CD, you can have your money in 4 months or 6 months, whatever it is, when the house sells. $600,000 is 2 more homes. If it's a year before they build, that's 4 more homes in Greenville. You have the same amount of money that's, let's see, what's the other 600,000 going to? Rancheria, for their build to rent program.
Yeah.
That's not started. So there's 4 homes that could be built. And if you're doing 2 to 3 a year, that's 8 to 12 homes a year from now. Hasn't cost you anything. It's the people that want the money still get their money, but Greenville has 8 more homes or 12 more homes if they're doing 3 a year. So I'll write something up about the build to sell program, but it doesn't need to be money that's necessarily donated just to that. It can be money that's waiting to go out to some of the other programs that aren't ready to move yet.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. That could be a pretty good opportunity just to make it work, to leverage it for other things.
Yeah, I
Go ahead,
have
Danny.
comments on that, Kes. I know I understand when you're looking at those funds, but we'd have to get creative with North Valley Community Foundation as to how to, number one, 300,000 of that has already been committed out and actually is gone to the Rancheria. So it's out of the pocket. I mean, they haven't done anything with it or whatever, but it's still out of the pocket. We have promised another 300,000 we've committed, but that hasn't gone into even a voucher stage yet. Okay, but those are, and the 600,000 has already been granted and its voucher process to the Almer Foundation. So that's not, in my mind, I don't know that we can pull that back and try to re-administer that. And it's I'm not saying we can't, of course, but it's a little more challenged than that I believe that we have the power to do. And Patrick said, I don't know that we have the power. We've already said committed that.
Yeah.
And
what I would say is that, like, I understand, like, Kes, to your point of, like, the concept of if there's money that is available to be able to apply towards this, the Almoner Foundation money is contingent on a number of things that have remained to be seen. So, there is the potential that that comes back sooner than anticipated if the built to rent like investment just isn't there. And I know that one of the things that that team is working on is working with the Community Development Block Grant disaster recovery funds to see if it's going to be supplemented that way, and that hasn't occurred yet. But even if nothing happens, then that money is coming back regardless to the tune of I think 540,000 because of the roughly 60,000 that was used for the other two components of that program. So yeah, I mean, there's still some question marks, but that would clearly open up more funding for availability. On the issue of the Rancheria, there's some good news that their plans got approved last week. And so it made it through the county plan approval process, and they are working on getting their project out for bid. So I contacted Grace Bush, who's been our POC for that since day one, and she said that I emailed her this morning, and she said that yeah, their plans are approved, and now they're working on the bid process. Yes, Danny.
Yeah. So actually, I think I really wanted to get this in before we kind of really started about talking about possible gaps going forward, and it's just where the funds are right now. Where are we?
Oh, yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's not. So it's just the bottom line right now. As far as I'm looking at funds available, we have $322,578 available. All right, that's not committed, but we have that other 300,000 that's so much it was promised to the Rancheria, but they haven't acted on that. So that's still a good chunk there, Kes, that I would say that we do have towards that type of thing. But there is still the the Indian Falls Water Project and the other projects Samantha and them were talking about. That's we could say 200. I don't know where that's going to come in, but we still could have somewhere around 400,000. But not that we're into where can we spend the money, but we do have money for worthy projects, I guess is what I'm saying. And I would like to see us look at committing that money rather than just hanging on to it and doing something with it rather than, and especially, I know Patrick's gonna walk into the sunset soon, but I think I want to have ideas of what's going on because we need to do that soon. And because without a coordinator, reluctant to say this, but I'm not sure if I want to be a treasurer without a coordinator. If you understand what I'm saying, we need to have a leadership there because I'm not, anyway.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, Danny.
I'm part of a team. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's good. Kest, you have your hand up? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry.
There you go.
Regarding the Almanor Foundation money that's already committed, if you were to want to build a home with your money, sounds like it needs to go to a 501c3 that can do that anyway. All I'm suggesting is that since the Almanor Foundation isn't ready to use the 600,000 that they already have, that you just ask them to put that money to work, putting homes into Greenville while they're waiting for their project. They'll get the money back when the houses sell, and then they can do their project. But right now it's just sitting in a bank earning interest, which is fine for them, but it's not putting homes in Greenville.
It's not in their pocket right now.
Oh,
it's not in their bank.
So you still have it. The DFC.
North Valley still has it. We've given it, taken it out of our ledger. It's in North Valley's ledger at this point.
Right. So I'm just suggesting that it's sitting in somebody's bank. Let's build some homes with it while it's there, and then you still have the money to give to the people whose projects are good projects and you've already approved them, but it's not doing anything right now. So
Yeah.
that was just my comment.
Yeah, no,
Understood.
there's some good, interesting opportunities that may avail themselves, Kest, and yeah, even if it's just, basically what you just described, like on one sheet of paper, that'll help me be able to communicate that to others, and then we'll just see what is possible. We'll try to what's in the realm of reason that makes sense and that isn't going to break anything with how
Type
this.
that up and I'll get it to you and the rest of the committee.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Sure.
Another potential project, and Lida's been working on this for quite some time with the potentially the Maidu Summit Consortium to be able to help in Warner Valley with hazard tree removal, debris removal, etc. And Lida, I did follow up with I just was asking around, with a forester about just that kind of the scope of work, and the recommendation that I received was for something as large as kind of what we're talking about, with as many diverse property owners and the area itself, is the recommendation was to be as specific as possible with the scope of work in terms of like a narrow focus, like pick a thing.
Yeah.
Meaning it's going to be, and this was just kind of thrown out without the person understanding really what the need is, but it's a chipping program. It's a hazard tree removal program. It's a thing that allows somebody to estimate really what the cost of that type of work would be, and then being able to obviously have the right organization or group be able to do the work, and so that they know this is what we're here for, this is what we're not here for, and that helps on the budget. So there isn't like a potential kind of like with, with the Legion thing, kind of like a scope creep where it just kind of it gets larger than people anticipate, especially just given the geographic size of it, but then the myriad of people involved. So
Yeah, I mean, that's what I need to talk to Shannon again about, where they stand in terms of how much specificity they need in order to make an actual estimate of what the cost would be. So she called me, I called her, we haven't connected yet. So anyway, we're working on it.
okay. Well, not to jump around too much, but just because it's kind of things that we have been talking about. With regard to the sign grant, so I did get an update. Josie Litchfield, who's been helping out a lot with that, gave a rundown. And what I'm still lacking are I need to confirm the overall dollar amounts, but the estimate. So the Dixie Fire Collaborative granted $36,000 to the Chamber of Commerce. Right now, it looks like the chamber has only spent anywhere between $13,000 and $14,000 of that money. So Matt, I know that you were inquiring about doing like a second phase and having the chamber, write a second grant. I'll get you confirmed information, hopefully no later than Wednesday, but I don't know that that'll be necessary given the dollar amounts that are still available from that original grant request. So it's not as if those funds have been depleted. So it could be the situation where there is a phase two. However, it's just pulling from that original grant, just because there's still a pretty large balance left. Some of the, when it came to some of the needs of some of the businesses, you're talking like a few $100, and they were good, for what their sign design was. So anyway, that I think that's generally a good thing. Is that I don't know that we're going to need the chamber to ask again for any more money to get accomplished what was sort of envisioned. I think one of the ideas that came out early was sort of directional arrows to Taylorsville to kind of help them out. Something that would exist at the corner of Arlington Road and 89 that could both be something that points towards Taylorsville, but also directs further down to Crescent Mills, sort of have something that is featured there. I had a really good consultation with Caltrans. I think I spoke to y'all a little bit about that. And there were some limitations. It was too good to be true. The first conversation I had with Caltrans was very positive, and there was all these things that they were actually going to do because of Caltrans maintaining the highway there, Highway 89, and they can do this, they can do that, they can do this. And then when they looked into actually the proximity of Taylorsville from Highway 89, it's beyond a certain mileage requirement. So if you're directing people to a business district, it has to be within like 2.5 to 3 miles, and Taylorsville's 4 miles away. So that was out, and so on and so forth. But a workaround may be to have a trailered sort of, sign node, and trailered so that it can be moved if necessary. You'll note if you drive by there, you'll see a small little trailer that the Indian Valley Museum utilizes to direct people that way. So something like that, but maybe 3 or 4 times the size, that maybe has like metal business signs kind of hanging off with like an arrow pointing this way, and then maybe some of the Crescent Mills business signs hanging and pointing them farther down 89. So would like the kind of the first right of refusal to continue to go through our Indian Valley businesses to make sure they have all their needs met with the basic things for their premises. And then there might be the opportunity that if there is, a few $1,000s left, to see what getting something like that fabricated might look like from a local business here in Loomis County. So those are just some of the ideas. Any other thoughts? Anybody have additional thoughts on some of the organizations that we've either worked with in the past or other nonprofits that you think may benefit from some of the other work you all do and other boards or committees you sit on, where as it relates to disaster recovery and or just kind of making things right, righting the ship a little bit, where you think leveraging dollars, contributing something like somebody already has an existing project and they just need a little bit, much in the, I think of the Cy Hall Museum, right? They had the preponderance of the money for their build, but they just needed a little bit more to get across the finish line. And that was similar with the American Legion. I was going to reach out to St. Anthony's, the church, because I know that they are building right now. And I've asked about it, but there hasn't been a request for funding or anything, but I was going to ask their building committee if maybe they were going to get to that point where they had everything to build it, but they were lacking church pews or things for their interior. As just an idea.
That's a good question. I have a question. It was kind of brought up because of the water quality question that brought up, and I have this still nagging question I asked Adam Cox about quite a while back to get clarification on. And so, what is the utilization model for Round Valley? It was the reservoir. It was our primary drinking water, so there was no, swimming, none of this. But then I heard, oh no, you can do that now, and I heard back and forth, but there's been no official. Type of thing.
That's a good question, Danny. I'll ask the CSD. So Adam Cox no longer works for them. I do know that they just got an update from Tracy Ferguson on there's a grant that the CSD is a part of that looks at recreational use in rural communities. And I got to be honest, I don't know all the details of it, so I don't want to even pretend that I can give you something. But I know that it has to do with Round Valley. But I'll ask for a follow up on that, because I know that they just talked about it at a special board meeting.
Okay, because it was one of those things that's since we're no longer drawing water out of there for Greenville, since it's using wells, and then it's you can, but there again, I also heard that they were going to try to sell that water to somewhere down in the valley too. So that that was quite a while. That was a while back, but that was one of those things. Was on the table there, but it just that's a clarification, because that's a recreational could be changed the model on that, but I know people are using it outside the model that I grew up with, where it's still drinking, you're not supposed to walk in it or anything else. So I don't know if it's got to be something put forward, and so that'll help bring people and help with as far as rejuvenating the area.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a little hesitant to support mission creep on things. So it's or a scope creep, I guess, is really what it is. And so I'm concerned about the Dixie Canopy project, and blowing the budget, if we were on that. And so how is that affecting other people who are supposed to get things? And because they're dedicating more time to that than getting 4 trees per household out to the other places. So that's one of those little concern.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Bigger.
We'll for the next meeting, I'll invite Michaela to come and be able to elaborate a little bit more fully on kind of what the current situation is there.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Marcia, yes, please go ahead.
I have a question. Did the Plymouth Sun give us a grant request? Whatever happened with that?
Oh yeah, Marcia, I think you were getting good wishes from your daughter for your birthday. So the Plymouth Sun, they've tabled that grant request as of today. Had a meeting with them and the Almanor Foundation, because the Almanor Foundation is their fiscal sponsor, and so in order to really get a good idea, like a good sight picture on what that budget needs to be, they need to go back with the Plymouth Sun, because the Plymouth Sun may actually hold the position, because right now the reporters for the Plymouth Sun are their independent part-time reporters, right? And so one of the goals here is that so there's the primary objective for the Plymouth Sun is to be able to have a disaster recovery journalist, a dedicated beat writer that's covering all things related, both directly and indirectly to the disaster and the aftermath, especially with regard to the county administration of the disaster recovery plan and the governance of it. So that's one objective. In doing so, another opportunity that they have is that by having a full-time reporter, they could potentially next year apply to another group called Report for America. Report for America will often help pay for a journalist position, so long as you already have like your basic employment apparatus going. And so that's one of the things right now that the Plymouth Sun is lacking. So they did apply for that position, or they did apply through Report for America, and then they were told, oh gosh, sorry, based off of your current employment construct, we're unable to provide that for you right now. And then a third factor is that they have applied for their own 501c3 organization tax exemption through the IRS, but that's kind of it can be a lengthy process. So they're working through that right now. So at one point, they may no longer be coupled with the Almanor Foundation. And so we talked a little bit about that, about the kind of the long-term nature of this grant. And if they're asking for a budget for 1 year or 2 years, and what would be more appropriate. And given that their governance administration may change within a year from now, that it may be more prudent just to kind of work a year at a time here. Because in their initial grant request, they had identified a 2-year need, and that may not really be the case. So they have some homework to do on really what they're asking for and how it's going to make sense. And then, based off of what they're asking, bring it back here and to also determine what the ask from the Dixie Fire Collaborative would be, as opposed to the North Valley Community Foundation, as opposed to the Almanor Foundation. So clear as mud.
Okay.
So yeah, a little complex. All right, well, again, don't want to beat the dead horse here, but continue to work your networks and just kind of keep your ear to the ground with regard to opportunities that kind of fit within the general framework here. But even if you just hear of something and you want to throw it at me to kind of follow up and research a little bit more, please do that. If you don't have the time to do that, but you had a conversation at a town event, or you're just talking to somebody at the grocery store and something came up, just let me know, and I'll follow up. So,
What about fire kitties? The fire kitties?
which one?
The Greenville Firecats?
Oh, the
Fire cats.
Yeah. I don't really know how they're organized. That's something that I was thinking.
Yeah, I don't think she's a 501c3. I'm not sure, but I did briefly see her at Gold Diggers. Actually, shame here. I'm going to shame John Hunter. You can shame him too. I happen to have a flag that I carry. I carry flags around in my truck. Whenever I see a flag that's in need of replacement, I replace it with a serviceable flag. So Mr. Hunter had an unserviceable flag flying from his flagpole. And anyway, so I talked to the lady there and said, hey, what about putting something in? Patrick, I think she knows who you is run into here or there, but I pointed her in your direction. So if somebody else,
Yeah, I'll follow up with them.
So I like kitty cats, so that's why that stuck out to me.
Yeah, no problem. I know that early on, of the $7.8 million that the county received in PG&E funds, there's this expenditure of $10,000 that went to the feral cat program, which is often talked about, but that occurred in the summer of 23 somehow, some way. Which, hats off to them for being able to get money to contribute to their cause. It was just interesting that out of that $7.8 million, there's $10,000 that was seemingly asked for by somebody and granted.
Probably Rose Pacetta from Friends of Louisiana.
Okay.
Yeah. So they supposed to have a house or someplace over off of Higbee Avenue or there.
Yeah, it's
where they
Kim's
have
old house.
cats.
It's Kim's old house.
Oh, okay. Anyway, all right.
Okay. Well, I'll follow up. Thanks for the lead. Okay. At this point, Danny, did you want to elaborate on your treasurer's report?
There's not much more than what I stated already. The bottom line is the bottom line that we kind of get to there. The one thing to report is that the grants that we approved have moved into the stage where normally we have it in a commitment stage, that they've already moved into a voucher stage, ready for people to, get the funding from. So that's why what I said, I did send out to everybody. You should have gotten my little update. And if I just look at the narrative, we got $3,500 in interest, and that is, it's not enough to buy a house there, Cass. But and then all the grants that we approved have already, I've included in the grants approved because they've made it out of the commitment phase. So that's why they're not down in the commitments. And we did have a payout for tech support for our website and for the June meeting. So that's where that expenditure came from. So I'm on item 3 there. So it says that our current DFC balance is 803,000. But that's less that, if we put in that other 300,000, it comes into there. But I think bottom line is what it comes down to. We've already our outflow is 90% of what we've brought in. So I think we're getting closer to meeting our commitment to support the community from that. So the bottom line is that it shows that $322,578.57. Plus potentially that 300,000 coming back from the Rancheria. So we have funds to help support people, So anyway, so that's really all I had. Got Patrick, just it'll be able people to see it if they hadn't pulled it up on their email. So that's all I have.
That's great. Thank you, Danny.
Sure. And if anybody wants to see the detail, they can pull up that other Excel spreadsheet stuff. But this is the, you know, the executive summary, I think, is a quick way to look at it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And we'll go ahead and with the other committee updates. I'll start to my right here with Greg.
I have two questions. As the car guys like to make small donations to fire departments, and so would that be John Hunter? Who would I have them connect with? Who's in charge of the fire department?
I would start with John Hunter, but if it's so the fire department is managed by the Indy Valley Community Services District.
Okay,
So
connect with them first.
yeah, because they would take in the money for them and
All right, yeah, I mean, it's a small, you know, they said maybe a couple grand or something like that.
That's great. I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
Okay.
That's great.
So just that, and then an unrelated question is, what's the date for Brad Mavis's merry-go-round party? Does anybody know?
Make sure you're muted.
Say it again. What's the date for what?
For Brad Mavis's merry-go-round party.
Say it again.
August the 2nd is Brad and Mavis's carousel party at their
Right.
house. I don't know exactly the time, maybe around 5. Potluck. August the 2nd is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, no, Brad invited me and I didn't get the date down, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Marcia, do you have?
I want to do a shout out to Greg about the parade and all those gold diggers thing. This was noticeably bigger and better than last year. The parade was wonderful, and all those trucks and the contractors and Lindsay Boyce Kelly, you know, the people that designed the houses. I just thought it was really wonderful. I really enjoyed it, and I thank you for all your hard work putting that together.
Thank you, but I mean, the trucks was like Cassie putting together that tribute for Bob Stoy, who I've never met, but that was like astonishing. You know, I mean, that was really moving, I thought. So, but thank you anyway, you know what I mean? But I certainly didn't do it by myself. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Can't claim credit.
I know you did a lot of work, so
Thank you.
thanks. And also, Patrick, I was wondering, are we going to have a community meeting on August 16th?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you all about that. The last community meeting that we had, I think we had 3 people attend, and that was the one in June. And so my recommendation is not to have a meeting in August and really just kind of strike when we have. I think we always have information to share, but maybe things that are a little bit more news and noteworthy at this time. I mean, again, it's no secret that like I'm not trying to stiff arm a responsibility here, but at the same time, to go through the work and effort to put on a meeting that is not widely attended, it's not, you know, it's not rocket science to do a meeting, but it is time and attention to do it, and then also to get presenters, and it just has been very difficult to get the volume of presenters and information to an audience that wants to hear it, frankly.
Yeah, I
so
understand.
Almost, I mean, you know, maybe like in September, maybe that's a wrap up type of thing, to bring forth, you know, 3 months of information forward throughout the summer. I just, it's just challenging. That's all.
Okay, thanks.
But open to suggestions or anything else on that. Like that's just my take on it.
I know I wouldn't be able to do September. I'll just say that September's.
You're not able to do that, Dan? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm gone in September.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
going to Chile or not. Anyway, South America.
Nice.
Danny, I love your travel schedule.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I'm trying to keep up with my wife.
It's not bad. That's good. Okay, Lida, anything for the team?
No, I don't have anything new.
Okay, thank you. Matt?
Gold Diggers was fun. We launched the Indian Valley e-bike club. So if any of you guys got an e-bike, you're all welcome to join for a ride. Everything else has come along real well.
Great, thank you. Danny, anything else to offer?
No, actually, I want to ask Matt that my brother noticed a hat that said Crescent Hotel or something on that,
Uh-huh.
and he wants one or two or three. So he said, "How do you get those?" Apparently, he knows somebody who has a connection to that hotel and back. Anyway, so I guess
Oh.
I'll have to talk to you. And it's an
Yeah.
arm and a leg to get one of those, or what?
It's easy. I printed off 100 the other day, so I'll hook you up.
I was just wondering if it was required so many hammer blows on nails around the hotel or something. All right.
Very good. All right, thank you, Danny. Shelby, anything for the team?
No updates.
Okay, thank you. And Dax?
Nope, nothing other than the stuff on the water system I already shared.
Great. All right, well, thank you. Yeah, and thank you for everyone's contributions to Gold Diggers from the Rotary for their support. Marcia, for yours as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was not there, but you sang the national anthem, is that correct?
Oh, it was Dennis
Hazelton?
Yeah, I did a wonderful. I played the piano.
There you
He
go.
sang beautifully.
Accompaniment is half the battle, so thank you for that. And thank you to Greg for all his work with the parade and the car show and all the other things for Gold Diggers. We just, if anybody's interested, we are going to have a Gold Diggers sort of after action review on next Thursday, the 31st, here in the office. I think Karen's at 6, but didn't we move it an hour earlier to like 5?
I would prefer to have it an hour earlier because there's another meeting I want to go to.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, it'll be in the late afternoon, evening on the 31st, and we're gonna kind of go back through our planning cycle for Gold Diggers this year. So the all the events leading up to kind of plan, to kind of review and see what we can improve, see what we should sustain. And then likewise for the event itself, what can be improved and what should be sustained, and then capture all that now, and kind of keep an electronic file that can be shared moving forward into the next planning cycle for next year. Kest, did you receive all of your trash cans back?
Yeah, we came and we got them yesterday.
Okay, thank you very much for supporting that. I appreciate it. I did kind of a walkabout today, and I saw 2 or 3 more sitting there, and I was like, I don't know if those belong to Kest or if those are Christie's or who, but as long as you got yours back, I'm good with that.
Yeah, Sherry and I brought down 10 and we took 10 back.
Great.
Patrick, where will the Gold Diggers review meeting be?
It'll be in this office here.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah. So anyway, we're just going to capture all those lessons learned, so we can roll that back into the next planning cycle. So
Patrick, I have a question.
Mhm.
The next day on Sunday, I found some of those noodles and those little things that are like balls that you throw to kids in the water, just all over the place, and so I got them. Where do those go?
That's great. Thank you for collecting those. Those will more than likely go back to Christy Hazelton.
Oh, okay. I'll talk to her then.
Yeah. All right. And so with that, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move.
All right, thank you.
I second it, Marcia.
Marcia, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Ayes across the board. Any opposed? All right. Thank you all very much. We'll see you on August 4th for the next meeting.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good
Guys.
evening.
Bye.
Thank you, Patrick.
Have a good night.
Pat.
Thank you.